Have you ever been told your life is less important than a free throw line? My name is Sloan Hart, and I swear on every hospital bracelet I ever wore, what happened after I said no changed every single thing. I grew up in a town that smells like wet hay and diesel, the kind of place where the Dairy Queen shuts down for deer season and nobody thinks that is weird. Dad drove long haul, rigs 11 months a year, and smelled like diesel and stale coffee when he walked through the door at 3 a.m. Mom worked the counter at the only pharmacy, which meant she knew everybody's secrets and pretended she did not. I had one sibling, Gabe, younger by 4 years, taller by 3 inches, louder by 1,000 decibels. Gabe was the town prince, point guard, honor roll without trying, smile that got him out of speeding tickets he had not even earned yet. I was the kid who read medical journals for fun, who memorized symptoms like song lyrics, who could spell pheochromocytoma before I could ride a bike without training wheels. I also happened to be the kid whose heart sometimes forgot how to be a heart. The first time it happened, I was 8. Gym class, parachute game. Everybody shakes the rainbow fabric until the world spins. I wake up on scuffed linoleum, teacher crying, paramedic pounding on my chest like it owes him money. Diagnosis, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a phrase that tastes like chalk and fear. Translation, my heart muscle is thicker than it should be, so electrical signals get lost like tourists in a bad neighborhood. I get pills, I get restrictions, I get a medical ID bracelet I chew through when anxiety spikes. Mom quits her second job to drive me to appointments 2 hours away. Dad starts calling me half pint because I can only carry half the groceries. Gabe can handle. Gabe calls me zombie because pale is apparently a personality trait. By high school, we have a rhythm. Cardiology visit every 3 months. Echocardiogram like clockwork. 24-hour Holter monitor once a year that I decorate with Sharpie stars so I feel less like a broken appliance. The appointments are always on Tuesdays, because the specialist only flies in on Mondays. One particular Tuesday, February 14th, ironically, is circled on 3 calendars: the fridge, the corkboard above my desk, and the app on Mom's cracked phone. That appointment could decide whether I qualify for a newer, riskier surgery, the kind that might let me run a mile without feeling like I am breathing through wet wool. I have a speech ready. Yes, I am willing to try. Yes, I understand the mortality rate. Yes, I want to live like a normal 17-year-old, even if normal is just jogging to catch a bus. The Friday before, Gabe storms into my room without knocking, something he has done since he was 5, and I taught him to tie shoes. He is wearing his away jersey, number 11, and the grin that melts coaches and principals and girls who should know better. He says, "Mom says you are driving me to my game Tuesday." I laugh because obviously that is a joke. I say, "I have a doctor's appointment, remember? Life or death stuff. Literal heart talk." He shrugs, like I just told him I need to return a library book. Just reschedule. Doctor is paid either way. I explain the specialist flies out Tuesday night, that Mom already took off work, that we have waited 4 months for this slot. He flops on my bed, kicks my biology textbook to the floor, and says, "Look, Sloan, scouts are coming. State finals. I need a ride. You are not going to die in one afternoon, right?" The words hang like smoke. I tell him no, firm, final. He leaves muttering, "Selfish," loud enough for the word to crawl under my skin and stay there. Saturday. Mom gets pulled into a double shift because the other cashier's kid has strep. Dad is somewhere between Denver and Tucumcari with a load of frozen turkeys. Gabe corners me in the kitchen, cereal bowl in hand, milk dripping onto the linoleum. He says, "I asked Mom. She says if you refuse, I have to ride with Coach, and Coach will bench me for being irresponsible." You want me benched? I want to say I want to stay alive, but the sentence feels dramatic even inside my own skull. I repeat, appointment is life-changing. He smirks, the same smirk he used when he convinced me to climb the water tower and I froze halfway up. You are exaggerating. You sit on a table, they glue wires to you, you breathe. Takes 2 hours. Game starts at 5. Plenty of time. I walk away. He shouts after me, "Thanks for nothing, half pint." Sunday night, Mom calls from the pharmacy, voice thin with stress. She says Gabe has been texting her every 10 minutes, that the scout rumor is real, that scholarships hang on one game. She asks if I can move my appointment to Wednesday. I remind her the specialist is gone by then. She sighs, the sound sliding through the phone like a paper cut. "Honey, I am stuck. Can you please just take him? We will find another cardiologist soon. You have made it this far." The words feel like hands around my ribs. I want to scream that making it this far is exactly why I cannot gamble. Instead, I hear myself say, I will think about it, because disappointing. Mom is a flavor of guilt I was raised to avoid. Monday, Gabe refuses to speak to me. He slams doors, blasts music, posts TikToks with captions like family supposed. To ride but guess not. The comments pile up. Siblings suck. Blood ain't loyalty. Little knives that feel aimed at me. At dinner, he sits opposite, eats in silence, then pushes his plate away half full. A performance for Mom, who is too tired to notice. I feel like the villain in a story I never auditioned for. That night, I sit on my bed, Holter monitor packed in my backpack alongside consent forms, medical history, list of questions that might decide whether I live to 30. I stare at the blinking clock until numbers blur. Finally, I text Gabe. Fine, I will take you. But we leave the gym at 4:30 sharp, so I can make it back for Mom to drive me to the city. He responds instantly. Knew you would come through, MVP. Tuesday arrives gray and cold, the sky the color of old gauze. I skip breakfast because nerves wrap around my stomach like duct tape. Gabe is already in the driveway bouncing a ball off the siding, leaving scuff marks Dad will yell about later. He hops into my beat-up Civic, slams the door, adjusts the radio to his station before I even turn the key. I back out, tires crunching gravel, heart doing its fluttery warm-up that might be normal nerves or might be prelude to catastrophe. I tell myself 30 minutes to the school, 45 back, plenty of buffer. I tell myself a lot of things. We are 15 miles out when the first wrong thing happens. A weird skip in my chest, like a record player hiccuping. I blink, breathe, count to 5. It passes. Gabe does not notice. He is filming himself freestyling about victory. Second wrong thing. Traffic stalls on the 2-lane. Highway behind a tractor that is wider than the lane itself. I tap the wheel, check the clock, calculate minutes evaporating. Gabe says, "Chill, we will make it," without looking up. The skip returns, stronger, followed by a flush of cold sweat that soaks my shirt like I just walked through rain. I pull onto the shoulder, hazards on, dig for the water bottle. Gabe finally looks over. "You okay?" I nod because speaking takes oxygen I suddenly do not have. The world narrows to a tunnel, heart banging like it wants out. I fumble for my phone to dial 911, but the screen spins. Gabe grabs the wheel. Sloan, breathe. "You are fine. We have a game." I hear him, but his voice is underwater. I manage one word, hospital. He hesitates. Actually glances at the clock on the dash. "We can still make opening if we go. Now." I try to repeat. Hospital, but my tongue is drywall. He puts the car in drive. Pulls back onto the highway. Behind the tractor. Toward the school. Black spots eat the edges of my vision like old film burning. I hear the blinker clicking. I hear Gabe muttering, "You got this." Just a few more miles. I feel the car accelerate, feel my head slump against the window. The last clear thought I have is, he is choosing a game over my life, and I am awake for the choice. Then the tunnel collapses. I wake up to the smell of rubber and sweat. I am lying across the back seat of my own car, windows fogged, engine off. For a moment I think we crashed, but the world is too quiet. No sirens, no voices. I push myself up, head throbbing, mouth tasting of pennies. Outside I see the school gym, lights blazing, crowd noise spilling into the parking lot like static. Gabe is nowhere. My phone shows 6 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Lacey, 1 from the cardiologist's office. Time reads 6:47 p.m., 47 minutes past tip-off, 2 hours past the slot that could have saved me. My chest feels like someone parked a truck on it, but the rhythm is steady, embarrassed almost, as if it got caught misbehaving. I crawl to the driver's seat, keys gone. Gabe took them. He left me like a jacket he might remember later. I use the last of my strength to lock the doors, dial 911, tell the dispatcher I am a cardiac patient in possible relapse. She keeps me talking until the ambulance screams into the lot. Lights painting the gym windows red, blue, red. Kids pour out to watch. I'm lifted onto the stretcher. Oxygen mask strapped, IV stabbed. As they roll me past the entrance, I see Gabe on the court. Jersey bright, hair wet, hitting a 3-pointer while the crowd roars. He does not look over. The doors close. At the hospital, they run the tests I was supposed to run hours earlier. Doctor's face is grim, kind, tired. He says I slipped into ventricular tachycardia, that I am lucky I did not arrest, that scar tissue is advancing faster than we thought. He asks why I missed the appointment. I laugh until the monitor alarms. He schedules emergency ablation for Friday. Risk level considerable. Success rate maybe 60%. I sign the consent with a hand that will not stop shaking. Mom arrives crying. Dad's still somewhere in Kansas with turkeys. She keeps saying, "I am sorry. I am sorry." But the words bounce off the plastic bracelet, cutting my wrist. I tell her Gabe left me in the car. She nods like she already knew and cannot bear to say it. I tell her I am done protecting him. She nods again, smaller. Surgery happens or does not, depending on how you count surviving. I wake up with a chest full of burns and a heart that beats like it is learning new choreography. Morphine dreams are full of Gabe's face dissolving into the squeak of sneakers on hardwood. I stay in ICU 3 days, in cardiac ward 7. Mom brings pudding, brings tears, brings stories about how Gabe scored 28 points and scouts are calling. I stop her mid-sentence and say, "If you bring him here, I will press charges." She blinks, startled that I have that power, then nods. For the first time, I see fear in her eyes, fear of me, and it tastes like pennies but also like sugar. I go home with a bag of pills, a stack of follow-ups, and a scar that looks like a lightning bolt across my sternum. Gabe tries to visit twice. I refuse. He sends texts. "I thought you were faking. You should have said it was serious. I got MVP, we should celebrate." Screenshot everything and email it to myself in a folder labeled evidence. Also email the highway traffic cam footage. Julia, ever loyal, somehow acquired, showing my car on the shoulder for 12 full minutes while Gabe sat behind the wheel, scrolling his phone, before he finally crawled into the backseat with me and waited for the storm to pass so he could still make tip-off. The timestamp glows like a smoking gun. District attorney listens without blinking. I file for reckless endangerment. Child abandonment, funny, since I was 18, and failure to render aid. Gabe is arrested at practice, cuffs clinking louder than championship rings. The town explodes. Half the community calls me a traitor. The other half whispers, "About time." Mom cries in the courtroom while Dad stares at the floor like it might open and swallow the whole family. Gabe pleads no contest, gets 6 months suspended, mandatory counseling, and a scholarship revocation. I do not feel joy. I feel the hollow click of a door closing on a room I will never enter again. Years later, I work in a different city, different life. I run a foundation that puts AEDs in every rural school, that funds free cardiac screenings for kids who cannot afford to breathe. I keep the silver medical bracelet in a drawer. Tarnished now, chew marks still pressed into the edges. Sometimes I take it out, hold it under the light, and remember the smell of that gym parking lot. People ask if I forgive him. I tell them forgiveness is a luxury for people who were loved correctly. I tell them I chose to live, and living is its own revenge. Then I put the bracelet away, lock the drawer, and go back to saving strangers one heartbeat at a time. Praying the storm inside me only ever strikes once. Man, you have no idea how loud a heart can get when it finally learns to beat for itself, and nobody else. I thought the doorstop joke would end it, but trophies have a way of rolling back into your life like a horror movie doll. 6 months after the raffle, I get a padded envelope, no return, Nevada postmark. Inside is a single bronze shoe, the part Gabe's trophy stood on. Someone ripped it clean off. The note is typed on receipt paper. Half for you, half for me. Blood is blood. I laugh until my ribs rattle. Then I call Julia because fear is easier when it's shared over speakerphone. She runs the tracking number on the receipt. Walmart Supercenter. Reno purchased 2. Hours earlier by a card ending in ZM34, Gabe's old debit suffix. He is still using the account Mom funded with the hush money I never knew she sent. That night, I scroll a burner Instagram Julia found. Handle, Love and Still Lives. Bio, reclaiming every stolen point. Recent post. A photo of my foundation's logo, crudely photoshopped into a scoreboard. 28 Neo, Gabe's old jersey number lit in neon. The caption reads, "Game ain't over till the buzzer's in her chest." 37 likes. All from burner accounts with basketball emojis and wolf masks. I block the page, but it pops back up an hour later. Followers doubled. I feel the old skip in my sternum. Phantom electricity reminding me scars remember everything. Next day, a courier delivers a flat box to my office. Security scans it, clears it. Inside is a framed newspaper clipping of my cardiac arrest story. Headline circled in red Sharpie. A sticky note on the glass. "You stopped my heart first." The frame is the exact style Mom used to hang my honor roll certificates. The ones she took down the day Gabe got suspended. I call Mom. She answers on the 3rd ring, voice thin. "Honey, he is not well. He says you stole his future. He wants it back." I ask how he found my foundation address. She whispers, "I gave him the P.O. box. He promised closure." I I thought maybe you two could... I hang up before she finishes, because forgiveness tastes like metal when it is forced. 2 weeks later, I fly to Reno for a board meeting on rural clinic funding. I do not tell anyone I am coming. I check into a casino hotel that smells like broken promises and vanilla vape. At 2:13 a.m., my room phone rings. I let it ring 12 times before I pick up. No voice, only the sound of a basketball dribbled in an empty gym. Echo bouncing off cinder block walls. I slam the receiver down, heart sprinting, and call security. They find the house phone in the hallway ripped out of the wall. Wires sparking like nerves. Camera footage shows a hoodie. Number 11 peeled off, but ghost outline still visible. No face. Just the back of his head and the ball spinning on one finger as he walks away. I cancel the rest of the trip, drive to the airport at dawn. At the rental return, the attendant hands me a key tag someone left on the windshield. Miniature. Basketball, flattened, slit open, stuffed with a scrap of paper. My own medical ID bracelet number printed in block letters. I drop the key, hands shaking so hard the attendant asks if I need a medic. I say no, because medics are for people who still believe help arrives on time. Back home, I install cameras, motion lights, a panic button under my desk. Julia hires a PI to tail Gabe. Report comes back. He's living in the motel, working nights at a 24-hour shooting range, pocketing cash under the table. Range owner says he talks to the paper targets, calls them cis, burns the center out of every chest. PI sends photos. Gabe's arms are track-marked with insulin needles, though he was never diabetic. Rumor is he is trying to mimic my arrhythmia, to feel what stopped me. Like if he can taste the flutter, he can undo the charge. The PI loses him at a pharmacy counter where Gabe buys epinephrine pens with fake allergies. My throat closes just reading the word. Foundation gala rolls around. I am hosting donors in a converted warehouse. LED lights bathing everything in sterile white. Mid-speech. The projector glitches. Screen flickers to a live feed of the parking lot. Security scrambles. On the feed, Gabe stands beneath a streetlight, jersey on, dribbling a ball that has been painted half red. He looks into the lens, holds up a butcher knife, slices the ball open. Inside is a USB. He plugs it into a waiting laptop. The warehouse speakers crackle. Audio of my 911 call from the day he left me in the car. My voice begging, "Tell my mother I tried." Guests gasp. I freeze, lightning scar burning beneath my silk blouse. Security races outside, but Gabe is already gone. Laptop smashed, only the echo of my own dying breath looping over champagne. Glasses and donation pledges. Police find the knife, the USB, a single sneaker, size 11, left like a signature. Detective asks if I want protective custody. I say no, because cages are still cages even when they wrap in Kevlar. That night I sit alone, lights on, bracelet in my fist, and I realize the only way to end the game is to change the rules. I drive back to Reno. No security, no announcement. I walk into the shooting range at 3 a.m., smell of gunpowder thick as guilt. Gabe is behind the counter, eyes bloodshot, jersey stained. He looks up, startled, then smiles the same smile he used the day he took my car keys. I set a single item on the counter, the bronze trophy shoe from the envelope. I say, "You want half? Take it." I pull out a second object, the silver medical bracelet, chew marks still pressed in. I drop it into the trophy shoe like a coin into a wishing well. I tell him, "You keep playing, you keep losing pieces of yourself. I am done being your missing part." I turn to leave. He grabs my arm, fingers digging into the scar tissue on my sternum. I feel the skip, the old dance. But this time I breathe through it, slow and even, heart learning a new choreography. I look at his hand until he lets go. Security camera above us records everything, but I do not need footage anymore. I walk out, hear the ball hit the floor behind me, hear it roll and stop, hear the buzzer of a game that finally ended the moment I refused to play. Back home I open the drawer, place the trophy shoe and bracelet inside, lock it, mail the key to Gabe with no return address. I include a single line typed on strip of EKG paper. Some hearts beat better when they are apart. Man, you have no idea how quiet the world gets when you stop listening for the dribble behind you, and finally hear your own pulse steady, selfish and free. Subscribe, because next week, I will tell you how I turned that locked drawer into a scholarship fund for kids whose siblings tried to erase them and watched the first recipient graduate without looking back once.